phase 2 of the pre-patch is out. So there's the little quest line featuring Rathian and an old friend who's very good to have back. We've got the Storm Invasion things and the Badlands and Goro, Northern Barrens. Tirisfal Glades is apparently missing. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's... just don't worry about that.
Yeah, Ultiman Dungeon, of course, as well. The Drakthir Evokers, along with their leveling zone and decent few cinematics. Yeah. Which, you think about it as just being the event, and it's like, oh, it's not that much. But Dungeon plus new racing class, that's quite a lot. It's quite a lot of doing. Quite a lot of doing. So
yeah, that's the thing where it's as soon as you start to think of, right, there's a dungeon in the game now. That's obviously it's not a Mythic Plus dungeon, but there's a dungeon in the game. That's a pretty big addition for a pre-patch, honestly. And then like literally the Drakthir starting zone it's only like an hour if you go like reasonably quick, but it's a damn good hour. And I think was it PC Gamer? I think it's PC Gamer because that's the site I go to most of the time. Just had an article, like had a thing, but like this is one of the best intros for, like World of Warcraft's ever had content wise. And they're like, yeah, it is. It's really good, to the point where I actually think it sucks that you have to pre-purchase for an evoker. I feel like if they had that free, and it was part of the free trial come up, free weekend, and it was, hey, come and play the new class and test out the new flying mechanics. If you like them, buy the game. I think if they did that, they would have way more gains. Because I think people actually soaring for the first time or having like, hey, these Drakthir, okay, well, I'm not a big fan, but let's see, especially how they use like their the Cut Legacy's Dream sequence for like the intro feels really strong compared to the reasonably kind of trite narration and camera pan intro for all the other races. It feels like a pretty strong opening. Yeah. Actually, the moment they start to teach you how to use swords, it feels like a video game, not just WoW. That's exactly how I felt. Outside of the rings feeling a wee bit scuffed and like that being a bit weird. But whenever you fly through the zone and you've got that reset button so you can store all you want, which means you can explore wherever you want, which means you can fly around and grab all the rares and all the treasures because you just fly around and they pop up on your minimap. You're like, sorry, did I have fun in World of Warcraft in like a way that I've never had fun in World of Warcraft before? I found fun instead of the satisfaction of playing an MMO and getting loot. I found actual genuine like awe, and it wasn't inspired by, because obviously there are moments in like questing where it's felt really good. You do something like help Yrel escape the Shadow Moon after blowing it up, the little orc thing, or like the little orc thing, the little like town thing, whatever it is, the encampment I should say. Or like, oh, that's really nice, that's really cool, that feels kind of good. And then all those cutscenes, that was good. But it was the first time like the actual gameplay design has literally directly given you that. Oh, holy shit. Because obviously you get it from other sources, but it's usually like emergent sources or like reward design, not literally you flying as fun. And I feel like if they offered that up on a platter as part of their trial, people are like, I didn't know it was like this. Yeah, fuck yeah, I want a whole expansion of this. Goddamn.
The idea that World of Warcraft is a game that you can play is very strange. And I know that sounds like the most backhanded compliment in the fucking universe. That's almost more saying something about MMOs as a genre.
It really is.
That's why so many of those aspects of Guild Wars 2 felt really new and fresh to people. Mm-hmm. Like, especially the way that it does mounts, because they don't feel like an MMO mount in terms of what you're used to. It's just like with the Drakthir sword. You're like, oh, this is not what an MMO is. We all have a set of expectations for different sorts of games, and things like that are outside of what we expect for an MMO. So it's cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's honestly, and obviously, like, in terms of because we talked about how, Shadowlands was a lot of storytelling moments, but we talked, especially towards 9.2, a lot of the tech they developed over that for character animation in their like in-game cutscenes and stuff has been really strong, and you see quite a bit of that in a combination of the legacies and a combination of those being used in the Drakthir starting zone. You're like, oh, that's actually kind of good. There was also what was it? There's a bit where, this is just going to spoil a tiny bit of the evoker things. I don't think you'll mind, but there's a bit where you're following like into a thing and they're clearly like gaseous and you're choking. And then you just like, you go in, you follow some net, you pass out and you wake up outside. You're like, oh, that was like kind of a thing that happened. That I know things that have happened in World of Warcraft before, but it kind of felt like, oh, you're not afraid to take control away from me or try to make me feel something through how my character has been like impacted. Nice. That's all very good, and it evokes some sort of actual feeling of playing a video game instead of playing a loot simulator. And that's one of the things you're like, or a number grub simulator. And you're like, hell yeah, that's a lot of really great learnings. A lot of really great learnings.
Now, speaking of those,
Yeah.
you can get fresh item level 278 gear from Ultiman.
Mm-hmm,
So
yes.
that's one thing to do if you want to gear up. Also, kind of cool to jump around that dungeon because you're not going to see. Oh, it is working cool. You're not going to see a great deal of that in the initial thrust of this expansion because basically M+ Season 1 will not include it. It will be there as a Mythic 0 that you can do, of course, but I mean, if we're already getting this in the pre-patch and we're going to be doing an M0, it kind of makes sense for it to be in the back 4 of the new dungeons that are in Mythic Plus Season 2.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that, and I was like, do I want to kind of farm this out for a little bit of the appearance or for a couple bits of 278 gear? Then I went, no, because I'll get sick of it and then I won't do it in Mythic Plus. And it's like, wait, it's not in Mythic Plus, so I can if I want to? Huh, that seems pretty well considered. Nice one.
Yeah.